there's no chance that this guy's actually looking through each individual invoice. Like, how much is going missing? What is slipping through the cracks? Restaurant operators are incredible operators, but they're handcuffed with the lack of tools to help them navigate complex challenges like the back office and finances. The cool thing about what we do is really being from the restaurant industry. So the background on Tab, for everyone who's interested, we were started about 5 years ago when the CEO, Ty Wilson, founder, quit his job in investment banking, moved home because it was COVID and his parents needed help. His parents had at the time, I think 8 units, and they were going through challenges. So he said, I'm going to quit my job, move home, build technology, help them navigate the process of cutting costs because he couldn't really increase sales at the time, and effectively just navigate the troubled times that was really COVID-19. From there, a couple months later, I was fortunate enough to come on board as well. We decided to kind of come together and start building this product, start building around restaurants, listening to restaurants, kind of using our experience in restaurants to try to predict kind of the problems they'd be having. And then, I'd say a year after that, in early 2023 for us, we decided to take a shot. So we left everything we knew behind, moved from Toronto down to Austin, Texas, knowing absolutely no one and no one around, and said, all right, like, this is our stab at making this a reality. And I think what's really cool about that for us was every single person that I spoke to told us we were absolutely insane for leaving everyone we knew behind and moving to the US and really taking a shot at things. And going back to what you were saying earlier, Sean, I don't think that story is all that unique in the restaurant industry. In fact, pretty much every restaurateur that I speak with has at least once in their life been told by someone close to them, you're insane for building your brand and wanting to chase the idea of building a restaurant. And the cool thing about all of us in this industry is maybe it's a little bit of ignorance, maybe it's a little bit of dumb luck, but we all just say, you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm going to chase my dream. I'm going to build my passion. I'm going to build my brand. And that is a kind of a chapter I think all of us have in this industry, is going against the grain and doing something quite unique. I think about restaurants in general as an industry that has $1.5 trillion of sales. It's the second largest employer in North America, and yet people have this idea that restaurants are a bad business. It's kind of crazy to me. For those who are curious, my background personally, I've done everything from the dish pit to live-in private chef. If you've ever seen an episode of Below Deck, then you know exactly what my life used to look like and the pandemonium that kind of went on there. But I also have a degree in finance. I worked in payments for a long time. I worked in Fintech. And when I met Ty and he started talking about what he was trying to do at Tab, it really resonated to me. And there was kind of one moment in particular that really started to highlight the business that is restaurants. And that was when I was working at a restaurant in downtown Toronto, a restaurant called Borrow, and we're having this pre-shift meeting on a Friday morning. And Thursdays were usually big days for us. I'm sitting down on this particular pre-shift meeting, and they're going through the stats basically of last night. It's like, all right, everyone, big night, super exciting. We did $110,000 of sales. And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, like, that's pretty substantial, right? Like, we're going to do the same tonight because Fridays were bigger. And then Saturdays were even bigger than that. Like, we're talking about some big money moving through this business. Then later that day, I'm walking through the restaurant, and it's now probably 1:30 in the morning, getting ready to pack up and break everything down. And I see the chef sitting in this tiny little closet that they called the chef's office. It was so far from an office, and just like a stack of invoices. And he's going through these invoices, so clear he hates his life. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, we did 110 in sales last night, and now it's 1:30 in the morning. There's no chance that this guy's actually looking through each individual invoice. Like, how much is going missing? Well, here's this business that is super strong as an operator and always had the ability to drive traffic. What is slipping through the cracks? And so that's kind of like the moment for me that really clicked, which is restaurant operators are incredible operators, but they're handcuffed with the lack of tools to help them navigate complex challenges like the back office and finances. So background on Tab and what it is that we do today. We are restaurants' corporate card, right? Any time that is being spent on the back office is not spent with a guest, or it's not spent on driving that guest experience. And so restaurants use us because we're able to do things like provide proactive controls. Make the user management, the card management so incredibly simple, right? The moment a card is used, capture the receipt, GL code it, location tag it, make it so they never have to worry about, do I fill out this expense report or do I deal with the person who came in the door? On top of that, there's the functional element, right? So we have fought long and hard to have an underwriting model that understands restaurants. So the result of that is providing higher credit limits, usually in the range of 3 to 5 times higher credit limits, unlocking the tool that is sitting in someone's wallet a lot of times that they're trying to not have to pay down 4 times in a month. Then we get into longer payment terms. So actually getting outside of just the 30-day term and getting into things like 60-day terms, which will be available for select restaurants, where this effectively becomes this working capital tool, right? You make a purchase, it's the 20th day of the month. You want to smooth that out over a few weeks of cash flow. I understand. Let's not go into credit card debt. Let's not use a line of credit that costs 15%. Let's build a tool that understands that, makes it really effective for strong leaders to be able to roll cash flow, especially in seasonal times. And then the other thing that we see a lot of it being used for is breaking ground and smoothing over capital costs. Essentially, what we're looking at here is for every dollar that's spent on the 60-day term card, it would probably be a line of credit purchase. So we're going to be able to cut capital costs in half on every purchase that goes onto that. And then finally, all of us here, I learned hospitality, and I've said this so many times. I had a bar manager named Zach Wu, who was by and far the best people person I've ever met in my life. He taught me everything I know about dealing with individuals, but how to build people up, how when someone sits down at a bar, how to read them and how to understand them, how to give them an experience, right? That where they've chosen to come and spend their money with us, you need to be able to match that energy and give them a reason to do it again. And so we give that same hospitality, restaurant grade support back to our clients, ensure that it's white gloved. We'll do everything on our end to make sure this is set up and you don't have to worry about it because you're either dealing with a Toast rollout, a Restaurant 365 rollout, or just managing your business. So we give that restaurant grade support to ensure that, you know, the tools that we have can effectively get rolled out and become efficient in your business quite quickly. So that's the quick background on Tab. I know I've been speaking for a while here, but the biggest thing that I want to really harp on is that restaurant operators, when they're given the right tools, unequivocally succeed. And as a company, we are literally underwriting the success of restaurants and betting our success on your success by saying, when you give them these tools, when you give them higher credit limits, you give them longer payment terms, you are going to succeed. And we've seen it time and time again. It's what we're proud to do. I'm so happy to be unapologetically pro restaurant because this is an industry that's given me everything. It's an industry I want to give everything back to. And it's an industry that we all rely on every single day. When you want to have a celebration, you celebrate at a restaurant. When you mourn at a restaurant. You bring food to the center of our society. And we're so unbelievably grateful to get to be able to be a part of that every single day.